What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your friendly neighborhood, Don. And let me just start it off with saying I think my parents may think I am the dumbest of their three children. And one of the best examples that can come to my mind is one of the nights that I had snuck out of our house. This night is so memorable because the punishment they gave me. Now, this night starts off pretty casual. Around 8 p.m., my boy, let's call him J Dog, shoots me a text and he's like, yo, trying to hit this two-man tonight. And I was obviously down to hit the two-man. Now, there was only one true hurdle to overcome, and that was how I was going to get out of this house. Now, I wasn't too worried about it at 8 p.m. But came around 12, dude, my heart started thumping. I was like, oh man, the time is really starting to come. And in my brain, I thought it was a fantastic idea to do the stuffed human under the blanket just in case my parents came into the room to check on me. And so I stuff up a pillow and I stuff up or the pillowcase. I'm sorry, I stuff up a pillowcase and then I put it on the freaking bed and I have the hoodie over the top of the pillowcase so it looks like I'm facing away laying in bed. And from from my perspective, I thought I did pretty solid. This being my first time ever sneaking out, I was kind of nervous. I didn't really know how I was going to hit the route to get out of this door. So I was kind of just overthinking it all, especially because, in the middle of the night, people go to use the restroom anyway. And at this point in time, I was living on a single story home. And in those single story homes, you can pretty much reach the front door and 5 steps from the restroom, and it's not going to sound any different than somebody just walking through the house normally. And I'm saying this with 2020 vision, hindsight, of course, because now I'm like, why the hell was I trying to creep through the house? I could have been going to get water from the kitchen, and just so happens the kitchen and the front door are really close to each other. All this being said, it was about 45 minutes till the two-man comes time. And you know what that means. It's time to get out of this house. And now my heart was really racing because it was time to exit the vicinity. And it was 12:30, 1 o'clock at this point. And it was bound to happen. I was not turning back at this point. My bed was already made with the pillow man, so there was no turning back. And I remember this next part so vividly because it was one of the dumbest moments of the night other than the point where I had gotten caught. But I remember walking through the hallway up to the front door and hearing every creak under my footstep and just my heart racing as I get to the front door. And as I'm turning the front door handle, I'm like, oh fuck, we've got the front doorbell camera. I can't go out the front door. So then I turn around and proceed to head back into my room. Now, the room I was staying in was set up pretty well to get out of because it was right off of the front porch, and that front doorbell camera was right in the blind, it was right in that blind spot of that front doorbell camera, so you couldn't see anybody coming out of the window. But if I stepped too far forward when I stepped out, I'd be right in that field of view. So I remember opening that window so quietly because I was freaking shaking. And I remember trying to step out of it so quietly. And it was a solid 4 foot drop outside of this window. And I remember there was a table with fucking tiles on it right outside of the window. And I had to navigate around it. Now, eventually, after about 5 minutes, I get out of this window. It took me 5 minutes to get out of this window, yes. So I finally got out of this window and I jump off of the left side of the porch because I'm trying to stay out of the blind spot of this front doorbell camera. And this drop is about, I want to say, 8 feet. So what I had to do is climb over the handrail. I then had to slowly shimmy myself down the handrails till I could hold on to like the deck and like drop myself off into the flower bed below. Now, if you're thinking, "Oh man, he's free for the runnings now," wrong. I had two more cameras I had to get past that were on a floodlight that pretty much covered the entire front yard. So what I had to do was hug a tree line because we lived back in the woods, like very secluded. So I had to like hug the tree line, and whenever the camera turned on or like the floodlights flashed on because it caught movement, I would just jump into the woods really fast until I got far enough to where I wouldn't activate the floodlight. And once I knew I wasn't activating the floodlight, I was like, okay, the camera's definitely not picking me up. Once I got past that floodlight, I still had like 200 feet of driveway and it was like a uphill. So I get up to the top. My buddy Jay, he was sitting up there. He'd been there for like 5 or so minutes. He had his lights off, just chilling there, listening to music, still freaking loud. But I get in and we're starting to head over to this two-man, and of course I had a little bit of weed on me because I never left the house without a little bit of weed on me, at least enough to roll 2 or 3 blunts minimum. And we're on our way over, and of course I'm rolling because my boy Jay's driving, and I spark it up, and we still had about 10 minutes to go, and I'm smoking it, and I'm smoking it, and I get a text from my little sister, and it said, "Where are you?" And she didn't even spell it all out. She spelled where out all the way, and then just R and then a U. And I was like, I'm out and about right now. And she said, okay. And that was it. I didn't hear back from her after that. Now, I didn't think much of it because, I'm about to go hit a two-man. Who gives a fuck about a little text message from your sister? So we get to this two-man and we go in and we're doing our two-man things, just hanging out, doing whatever. And I will say I'm gonna finish out this story for this two-man on another time because it ends in me and Jay getting robbed or them attempting to rob me and robbing Jay because I left my stuff in his car like a smart guy that I am. But a completely different story for another time. So we finally wrap up the fucking, adventure we had at that two-man. Because, we were both beaten and bruised at this point in time and we were fucking down for the count. We were not happy. We were not having it. So Jay takes me home, of course, because, we just got fucking robbed. So there's no point in us staying out any longer. And I remember it because I was walking down the driveway and I like get to the halfway point in the driveway and I'm like, oh, I gotta duck into the woods now. I gotta do the little sneaky tactic up to the front porch and like hide from that floodlight and camera. And I hide and I'm jumping in the woods. It took me 5 minutes to get back to that patio alone. And I'm trying to pull myself up this like 8 foot ledge and I'm like, I just can't do it. I wasn't like I didn't have the upper body strength to do it. So I just said fuck it and I walked up the front stairs in front of the doorbell camera and just like pulled my hood over my head and just walked super fast. And I finally get up to the window and I slide it open and I look in and my little stuffed guy is still on the bed and I'm like okay, cool. And I climb into the window and I remember just crawling into bed and falling asleep that night. And it was the next morning that they confronted me about sneaking out. Now, I wish I could say that was true because the second I crawl in and close my eyes, like crawl into my bed and start closing my eyes, my parents barged through the door and they're like, "Where were you?" And I was like, I was dumbfounded. I speechless. Now, I would be lying if I said my brain went through a bunch of options on what I should say next. But I kid you not, the next words out of my mouth were, "How'd you know?" And I mean, I thought I had a foolproof plan, but they apparently had caught me 10 minutes after I had left the house because they had gotten the Life 360 notification that I had left the house. And then they proceeded to go to check on me in my room to see if it was just a glitch. And they see my body bag, like my body double pretty much. And they thought they were just gonna let me play it off like I was gonna get away with it and then come in a couple minutes after I got in. And they knew I got in because they got that notification that I had arrived back home too. So like they got the notification about me leaving and arriving. So they knew the entire time I was gone. Now, they didn't give me any disciplinary action because, I mean, it was the first time I had snuck it out, and they're like, my Atlanta, this kid is super slow. And the fact like, they really did feel bad that I thought a movie cliche was going to work when it came to sneaking out. So they they just let this one slide, and I was very thankful for it because, I had to keep my Snapchat streaks rolling because Snapchat back in high school was everything. Now, I'd say I learned something, but I ended up sneaking out a ton more after this whole ordeal, so I didn't learn jack diddly squat from this one time. But that about does it for the first time that I ever snuck out, and why my parents probably think I'm the dumbest of their three children. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to like and subscribe. It'd mean the whole world to me, and I'll catch you guys in the next story. Peace.